So in this case, the first step I'm always going to do is this. I'm going to write down my A, my B, and my C, and I'm going to keep those signs with the numbers. And now we're just plugging in. Negative 7 plus or minus. Negative 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times a negative 13. And all of that is over 2 times 2. The fraction, like the denominator, it's not just under the radical. It's under the entire numerator. So make sure you write it as such. I wouldn't stick the 2 times 2 over here. Make sure it's under the entire fraction bar. Negative 7 is 7. Plus or minus, negative 7 squared is 49. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 13 is 104. And that's all over 4. And now we get to our answers. 7 plus or minus 49 plus 104 is 153 over 2. Now with the 153, you have to try and break them down. 3 goes into this 51 times, and 3 goes into 51 17 times. So this answer becomes 7 plus or minus 3 root 17. Put it over 2. Should be over 4. Over 4. Now, the way a lot of math books would write this answer is this. 7 over 4 plus or minus 3 root 17 over 4. I will accept either answer. Okay? But, just so you know, you could do either one and simplify the fractions where you can. Simplifying the radical is not optional. Okay? Simplifying the radical you do need to do. Second one, my A equals 1, my B equals 8, my C equals a negative 5. Negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5. And this is all over 2 times 1. So negative 8 plus or minus 64 plus 20 over 2. Negative 8 plus or minus root 84 over 2, all over 2. Now, you can't not simplify the radical. 2 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 7. So a pair of 2's come out. So this becomes negative 8 plus or minus 2 root 21 over 2. I will accept this answer. But I do want you to be aware that it could be written as negative 4 plus or minus root 21 as well. Negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. The 2 over 2's cancel, and we're left with root 21. All right, so if you're not equal to 0, you've got to get there first. So 4x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. So you're not equal to 0, you got to get there first. And then we establish what A, B, and C equal. But you're not at A, B, and C until your trinomial is equal to 0. So now, negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared minus 4 times 4 times 3 over 2 times 4. And keep in mind, I'm literally just plugging numbers in. Negative 8 plus or minus 64 minus 48 over 8. And negative 8 plus or minus root 16 over 8. Now, if you can take the square root of the number, do so. Negative 8 plus or minus 4 over 8, and then you should simplify. Essentially, this is one you could have factored. Right? Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 over 8, negative 1/2. Or negative 8 minus 4, that's negative 12 divided by 8. Or I'm sorry, divided by 8 is negative 3/2. These are your two answers. If you can simplify, simplify. And quite honestly, that's really one where you could have factored it. Here, A equals 3, B equals 4, C equals 12. Negative 4 plus or minus 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times 12 all over 2 times 3. Negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus, well, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144 over 6. Negative 4 plus or minus negative 128 over 6. So now, if you can simplify 128, you need to do so. And you can. 2 goes in 64 times. 32, 16, 8, 4, pair of 2's, pair of 2's, pair of 2's. It's 8 root 2. Because it's a negative, it's 8I root 2. It's not optional to simplify the radical. That has to be done. If you want to break this up and make this negative 2/3 plus or minus 4I root 2 over 3, that's probably the better answer, but I will accept either one. Want to keep the x squared negative. Okay? Wow. Terrible. Scratch that. You're going to want to keep the x squared positive. Excuse me. Okay? When the a term is negative, weird stuff happens. I'd rather keep that negative out of the denominator. So even though there's two things over here, my advice is to subtract them both over and get yourself to this point right here. And now my a is 9, my b is negative 7, and my c is negative 4. So when I go through this, negative 7 plus or minus the square root of negative 7 squared minus 4 times 9 times a negative 4 all over 2 times 9. Positive 7. 49 plus 36 times 4 is 144. And that all goes over 18. 7 plus 49 and 144, I believe, is 193. And I don't think we can simplify 193. I don't think 7 goes into it, 5 doesn't go into it, 3 doesn't go into it. So if you can't simplify, you just leave it. And that's your answer. On this one here, a equals 1, b equals 6, c equals 12. Negative 6 plus or minus 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 12. All over 2 times 1. Negative 6 plus or minus 36 minus 48 over 2. Negative 6 plus or minus negative 12 over 2. If you can simplify, you must do so. 2 and 6, 2 and 3, so a pair of 2's. So this becomes negative 6 plus or minus 2I root 3 over 2. I will accept that as the answer, but negative 3 plus or minus I root 3 is our better answer.